Buckle up, designers, because this video lecture starts your first in a long series of video lectures. This unit itself over branding is the largest that we will tackle in this class as it pertains to both the lectures, at-home lectures, and the in-class video tutorials on Illustrator, because we're really diving in, and branding is a great way for us to include a lot of different topics. So just be patient. As we go through this, just know that this unit's going to be longer than the others, okay? So now that you have found this video, I do want you to locate the slide presentation along with your digital notes, because you're going to be taking notes as you go. And I want you to open up to this first slide, which is going to have an embedded video on branding and identity. This is part of that other video series that you've been watching that goes over the different design principles, but it's a great introduction to what that term branding means and how it's applied to corporate identity. So stop this video, locate the slide, and please watch this embedded video and then come on back here when you're done with that. All right, so now that you're an expert at branding, let's dig a little bit deeper, shall we? This is the vocab that we are going to be learning about throughout this unit, and there is more. This is just kind of scratching the surface, but we're going to be talking about branding, what this term means. We're going to talk about geometric shapes and shape psychology, and that includes organic shapes as well. We're going to talk about thumbnail sketches, line, alignment, proximity, logos, logo type, color wheel, hue, color, intensity, color value, etc., etc. There actually are going to be some more that are added onto it here. So what is a brand? My suggestion to you, and this is an optional video, but I would strongly recommend that you watch it. What you're looking at here is Debbie Millman, who is one of the leading professionals in the area of branding and corporate identity, and she's going to talk to you about what it means to establish a brand and what all goes into it. And the first thing that you're going to realize is it's not just one designer. When a company, especially a larger company, is creating their corporate brand identity, they're going to use a graphic design company that employs a lot of different people that are going to be working on this process together. Branding a company takes a very long time, especially the larger the company is, or if they're doing a rebranding. It takes months and months and or years to establish a brand and all that goes in with it. But here's your formal definition. Branding is the process involved in creating a unique name and image for a product in the consumer's mind, mainly through advertising campaigns with a consistent theme. Branding aims to establish a significant and differentiated presence in the market that attracts and retains loyal customers. What that means is you are creating a face of the company, an identity. So when they look at your company or they think of your company, immediately the logo comes to mind, the colors come to mind, and not just that, but the feel or the mood of the company. And I'm going to hit that home a lot in this unit, where branding isn't just about the logo. Yes, that's a big part of creating that corporate identity, but the corporate identity is more about a feeling. It's more about a personality. Think about it as, what is the personality of your company? So if I say Nike, what's the personality of Nike? So if you're thinking aggressive or athletic, strong, yes, that's all part of their brand identity. Or if I were to say Starbucks, what kind of comes to mind? Right? There's a certain socioeconomic class that goes to Starbucks. There is a certain political slant, honestly, that goes with Starbucks. And they've aligned themselves with this personality or this culture so that when you think of these products, you're buying not just the product, but you're buying into the community or the identity that the company has created. For us, we're going to take a short, quick, speedy trip through branding, and we're just going to develop and work on the key parts of what goes into branding that corporate identity into people's minds. And that's your color schemes, it's your logo type, and then we're going to create a business card based on those things. So there's lots of different Illustrator lessons that you're going to be working through when you get back to class tomorrow. One of the first things is you're going to be looking at how to pick color schemes, and you're going to start learning more and more about the shape tool, because you are going to be creating your logos from scratch. But in this unit, you are going to be creating one large document You're seeing a shorter, smaller version of it here on your screen, but you're going to be creating a large document that has your corporate identity. It's going to have your logo type, which you can see up here. Here's their logo, here's their logo type. It's going to have your color scheme for your company, and then it's going to have an example of your business card if you were to create one for the company, all right? So when it looks done, or when it's done, you're going to see lots of, it's going to be big, right? Corporate identity is lots of things. So we're going to look at some variations of your logo, variations of the business card, and we're going to go over a lot in this unit. I want you to stop this video, find this live presentation, and watch this super short, very fun, very informational video on real world companies and what their brand means to them and how much it's worth to them. Stop the video, find this, and then come on back. Okay, so now that you've watched that video, you know that companies spend a lot of money. And if it was confusing in the video, they talked about how much their brand was worth. I want to break that down for a little bit because the video doesn't do a great job of explaining that to you being a student learner. So a company, like I said, they invest time, they invest energy into creating this brand. That brand itself, this abstract concept, actually has monetary value. The best example I can give of this is actually former President Trump. So President Trump, as a company, the Trump Corporation, they honestly didn't own a lot of things. They didn't own a lot of financial real estate. They didn't have a lot of actual physical holdings. In other words, things you could liquidate, buildings, products, machinery, equipment. They didn't have a lot. He didn't have a lot. What he had was his company's name that he literally sold. So a lot of the buildings, the Trump buildings that you would see like in New York or Chicago, he didn't own those buildings. Whoever owned the building was paying his company for the rights to slap his name on the building outside. And in fact, a lot of the companies that have the Trump name, he didn't own any part of. They were literally paying to have part of that brand name. So that's the most obvious way that a brand can be worth something. But another way is if they were to resell a company. If I was Coca-Cola and I decided I'm done with the company, I was a privately held corporation, which it's not, it's publicly held. But let's assume it's privately held by one family, and they decided they wanted to get out of the business and they were going to sell it. Part of what they're selling to another buyer would be the factories that they own and all of the bottles that are inside those factories and all of the other intellectual property things that come with it. But in addition to that, they're going to put a monetary value on what the brand of Coke is, right? So you've got, let's say, the buildings and all the actual physical product that they have is, let's say it's $10 million. They say, okay, it's $10 million for that physical part, but we're going to want another $10 million, which, let's be honest, that would be a steal for the Coca-Cola company, but I'm just giving you a general dollar amount. They're going to say, I want another $10 million for the company name itself and everything that goes with that, because we spent a lot of time and money and energy. So the total bill, if you wanted to buy the quote-unquote Coke Corporation and everything that comes with it, would be 20 mil. 10 for all the physical things, 10 mil for the branding and the identity that we've created. So I hope that makes sense. So once we know what we want our company to stand for, and when you get to class, there will be a worksheet that you will fill out about what is your brand. So this is where it says step 1, what is your message? Remember, this is the personality. I don't want you to come to class say, well, my message is shoes. I'm doing a shoe company. Because remember, you're going to be creating a brand for a real or fictional corporation, but it's the personality. So if I was doing a shoe company, maybe my brand is about luxury, or it's about sassiness, because I want mine, the type of people who would buy it, to be young, sassy, power-driven young women. Or maybe my brand message is ruggedness, okay, like Brawny paper towels, okay? They're selling paper towels, but their brand is ruggedness. I mean, that's why they have the Brawny paper towel guy on the front. So what is your message of your company? So once you have that and you fill that out, then you're ready to start to develop that style guide. And a style guide is the visuals that go with that brand identity. And that is specific, very, very specific to a company. For instance, did you know that Coca-Cola has its own typeface? That Coca-Cola typeface cannot be used by any other company. It's theirs. It's copyrighted. They developed that font style that the Coca-Cola typeface is in. You know it. You're thinking of it right now. There's also a Coca-Cola red. Like, that shade of red is very specific. Now, if you don't realize how important this is, if you look in our Common Drive folder here at school, Rock Falls High School has a style guide. It's in there. It's developed. It has the font that's supposed to be used, and it has our Pantone color. And you can see that here. So Pantone is just a company that creates formulas for, think of it like a cookbook or a recipe book for colors. So they know the color breakdown, like how much cyan, how much magenta, whatever. So like if you look at our style guide, you can get the exact shade of green. And you do that because every time you're sending something off for print as a company, you want to make sure they're getting the right shade of red or the right shade of green, because that makes a big difference. When we say rocket green, you know rocket green is that hunter kind of Kelly green. It's not this limey color green. And when you see a variation that you're like, that's not rocket green, right? Because they don't have the right green. You want the right shade. So your style guide develops it. And not only does it develop the colors that are going to go in your logo, it's going to develop what other colors are okay to use alongside those colors, right? That's your expanded color scheme. It's going to break down what fonts that should be used. A company is not going to change this very often. Once you get your style guide in place and you start branding it, in other words, you put it on all your products, you put it on your packaging, you put it on the billboards, you put it on the business cards and the billboards outside, and you put it on your employees' uniforms. Once you get that established, you're not going to change it unless something major happens. For instance, the BP company, they had to do a complete rebranding after their last major oil spill because they were losing money hand over fist because people hated the company because of what happened, because of their mishandling of an oil spill. And so what they did is they completely rebranded the company. They changed the logos, they changed the colors, they changed everything to try and fool people into thinking it was a brand new company, when in fact it's the same exact company. They just have a different logo, they have a different feel, and believe it or not, it actually works. People forget the old BP and they're thinking of it as the new BP. So you're going to be coming up with your style guide. So when you're done with this video, you will need to watch the videos on color psychology and shape psychology. So I'm going to leave you here today. If you are done with this video and you're ready to roll and you want to start the next lecture, you need to locate the color psychology lecture video and be prepared to take a lot of notes. You're just going to add to the note sheet that you're already doing here. We're going to do one long digital note sheet. We're going to do one long Google form when you get back to class.